Yo guys, what's up? It's your boy Six. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be continuing the Arc server setup series where we cover plugins and mods as well as the basic setups of servers. This series is brought to you by Game Service Hub. You can join their Discord at discord.gg/GSH. It can be seen on screen and found in the description down below. Today we're going to be going over a plugin. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the plugin we're going to be going over today is Vanilla Modifiers by Pelayori. This plugin is very handy if you have a server that you're allowing Epic players on, as it allows the modification of default structures without having to actually use mods. So if you want to get this plugin, you can either get it off Game Service Hub, or what I would recommend doing is buying it off his page directly, as if you buy it off his page, it will be fully automatic instead of having to wait for him to authorize you. I also highly encourage you to join his Discord, as you will need a DM from his bot to get his license key. His Discord will be linked down below. If you need further support from this video with the plugin, you can either ask in the comment section down below. My personal Discord will have a section set up for it, which is also listed down below. You can ask in his Discord as well as the GSH Discord. All of them are great resources to get help. So now let's get into the config. So in the config, the first line will be account key. You get your account key by DMing the bot in his Discord, !licenses, and it'll give you your account key, and you just input it right here. I have mine hidden just so I don't have to blur it out. The first part of this is actually covers the structure itself. So it's crafting speed structure. However, this also manages the health, the crafting speed, if it can auto craft or not, if all blueprints can be auto crafted, certain blueprints to auto craft, inventory slots, and fuel consumption rate. So if we look in game, we can see these smithies have 20k HP with 400 slots, and it does have more than 75 slots in this one. It will say 75 on the inside, but that's just because it's how Arc works. Keep in mind there is a hard limit of 300 slots on certain structures. So now if we were to go ahead and edit this real quick and change this to say 40,000 XP or HP. Before I actually change this next value, I will craft a piece of flak. So as you can see, it takes a second to craft. So we're going to change crafting speed to 50, and inventory slots we're going to move down to 250, and the rest we're going to leave the same. So we're going to save that. We're going to quickly reload the config. So now we have 40,000 HP with 250 slots, and if we're going to craft flak, it almost instant crafts. So to add more structures, you come down here and copy from this line up to here. Add a comma. Go to a new line and paste. Make sure the last one here doesn't have a comma. So I'm going to quickly change this to a fabricator and change the stats real quick, just to show it also works on the fabricator, as the fabricator is currently default. So I'm going to fast forward while I change this. So as you can see, the fabricator now has 100k HP with 600 slots. I don't know what the slot limit exactly is on this, but I'll spawn some items in real quick and see if we can hit it. So I'll speed this up as I spawn them. So as we can see, the cap on the fabricator is 514. Each one does have a different cap. You just have to test and see what the cap is. I believe the smithy is 300. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop this so we can actually use the fabricator if we need to. So the next part of the config is auto crafting, which is how we actually set up auto crafting. So as you can see, it requires a permission. If you don't want a permission, you can simply delete this or assign this permission to the default role. Enable auto crafting by folder will enable basically the folders to be in here for auto crafting. Prevent under PvP cooldown for make Arc great again. This is a different plugin. This basically stops auto crafting from happening when you have PvP cooldown applied. You can change the folder name from autocraft to anything else. The autocraft interval to how fast it actually crafts. And blacklist for basically certain items that you don't want auto crafted. Then there is messages here that you can change, which by default I would just leave them unless you want to change the color, which it just tells you don't have permission to use this plugin, or it cannot be used while PvP blocked. So if I go in here, for instance, and try to craft a metal catwalk and put in autocraft, it won't let me. However, if I take this permission real quick and assign it to, say, my VIP role, permissions dot grant VIP, I can now go ahead and come in here and drag this. Oh, that one has nothing in it. So if I come over to this one and go ahead and type in catwalk and drag it to the autocraft folder, it'll start autocrafting. We'll go ahead and remove it from the folder and stop the queue. So that's basically how the autocrafting works. You can change the permission to anything you want. Same with the folder name. If I were to change the folder name to, say, I could call the folder whatever I want. So for instance, we'll call it GSH Auto Crafter. Save it. Go ahead and reload the plugin. We will have to pick up the smithy and put it back down. And as you can see, it now says GSH Auto Crafter. It is probably best to just leave the name default as Auto Crafter. The next part is auto repair. As you can see, you also need a permission for this. So if I actually go ahead and get myself, say, an electrical prod, just so we can break something fast quickly. So now we have broken electrical prods. If we go ahead and throw it into the auto repair folder, you'll see that I don't have permission to use this, so it won't actually work. Let's go ahead and take them out of the folder real quick. And we are going to just remove the permission for auto repair. So simply remove this. Keep the actual line there though. Then we're going to reload the config. If I drag these in here, you see now I have permission, however there's not the stuff in here. So we need angular gel to repair this, so let's get some angular gel real quick. Now if I drag this into auto repair and get some gas in there. They all auto repair, and then we're good to go. So this will work on flak as well. It's just quicker to do on electric prods as they're one hit break to show off the feature. So enable again will either true or false to enable or disable the feature. Prevent under PvP cooldown with make arc great again. True or false. Blacklist items that can't be repaired. The folder name, which we can change anything we want. And then the permission and the message for cooldown on PvP. So the next part of the config is auto pull. So again, we need a permission. We're going to quickly just remove the permission so I don't have to add it to anything. So then you have enable or disable if you want it. Prevent during PvP cooldown. The blacklisted items you don't want to pull. And the folder name. Then the message that it will send. The display time, the display scale, the color. You can edit these if you want. If you don't have enough resources. If you don't have permission. And if you're in PvP cooldown. So for all the pull, all you gotta do is come in here, go to the crafting tab. It is important that you have the show engrams tab clicked. We can test without it. It used to be a thing, but it might have changed where it actually works without it properly. So we just go ahead and drag. Yeah, it doesn't let us drag, so it has to be two menus. So we're just gonna close and reopen it. So you go to the crafting tab, black, go ahead and drag it into pull. Come in here and make another folder, and let's say we want to craft 10 of these. It tells you what it pulls, and I can now craft 10 of these. So now we have 10 flat gauntlets, and we're good to go. It'll work for, and then if you don't have the items for something, say that we try to craft electronics, and make a folder, and let's do 100. It'll tell us what we're missing. It will pull what it has to here. As you can see, it did pull what it has. But it doesn't have anything that it can use in place of the silica pearl, so it didn't pull it. I'm not sure why it did pull the poly. Oh, it's because I have this in here. My bad. That's why I pulled the metal and poly. So if we actually go ahead and take this out real quick and try to pull just electronics. As you can see, we couldn't find any silica pearls, but it pulled 100 metal ingots. Go ahead and stick that over there. So that's basically what auto pull will do. Alright guys, sorry about that. There was a weird cut. I had a version that wasn't actually working, so I had to switch versions. But we are now on a version that should be good to go. So the next up we have auto distribute, which basically allows us to distribute automatically. The first option is to enable or disable it. Prevent cooldown with mega. True or false. Blacklist certain dinos, players, or structures from being distributed to. The permission needed to distribute, which for this we're just going to clear it so I can show it without using a permission. Then the messages that it will show. So if we go ahead and reload or save this and reload the config. If I go ahead and put metal into a folder named Forge, it'll go ahead and distribute to all forges. If I take that back, I can make another folder called Smithy, and like throw flint in there, and they'll split the flint between each smithy. So this is helpful for chem benches, forges. It will also pull the metal from the forge, so if I go ahead and quickly redistribute the metal and smelt some. Alright, so if we go ahead and just drag the metal to the forge again, as you can see, it took the rest of the metal out of the forge. Now there's no metal in the forge. And that's basically how auto distribute works. Alright, next up we got the pull system. This allows for pulling. Then we have, if we want to enable or disable, the pull radius in foundations. The cooldown on pulling. If we want pulling from dinos or not. And the permission use it. Again, I'm going to remove the permission just so I can show it off without having to give myself the permission. You can also exclude certain items from being pulled. Exclude both structures to pull from and pull to. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to do /pull INV space apostrophe ingot apostrophe 780, and you'll pull the metal to your inventory. And if you look at a structure and do /pull structure apostrophe ingot apostrophe 780, it'll pull the metal to this smithy from that smithy. So that's how you use the pull feature. You can change the sender's name from vanilla modifier to whatever you want. Here's the pull and structure inventory that you use, and then a resource name and the amount. These are the messages that it'll give if a certain error occurs or if it goes through. So distribute command, enable or disabled, the amount of foundations, and the permission to use it. Blacklisted structures for certain structures that you don't want to be able to distribute to. And then it gives you the command as well as the error codes. However, in the current version of vanilla modifiers I'm using, it is broken. I changed it back from when I did the auto pull feature, so I can't actually use the command, but the command would be /dist apostrophe forge apostrophe space apostrophe metal apostrophe, and then enter. And as you can see, it says there's none found in range, even though it's right here. It's just the version I'm using is broken, but if you need to use the command, that will work. So bed settings, we can use fixed spawns, so that way the time doesn't actually change. Or we can use a min respawn timer and a max respawn timer, as well as configure it for each bed. So if we want the simple bed to have a 30-second respawn timer, we would just set it to true. And then change this to 30 seconds. Save. Reload. Let me place a bed down real quick. Place 2. So I fast travel to this bed. You'll see there's only a 30-second timer. Whereas if I were to set this to false, then set the number from 1 to, let's do 25, save and reload that. And fast travel to the other bed. As you can see, it will choose a random time between 1 and 25 seconds. You can do it for individual beds or just the global bed settings. It's up to you. Infinite water allows water reservoirs to have infinite water. So if I come over here and I GCM real quick, I fix my GCM. Doesn't like when you fast travel. Then we go ahead and get a pipe and a metal water reservoir. And then go ahead and place the pipe and snap the reservoir to it. It will actually be irrigated permanently, so it'll always have water. So that's how you can have infinite water if you don't have mods. Next just gives you the actual command list. So next we have Dino control. So you put the dino that you want to actually control at the top here. Then we can change the breeding for the min timer and the max timer. And we can set if intervals is in hours or minutes. And if we want to prevent breeding from it. So if I go ahead and get a breeder pair of Carnos real quick. Let me go ahead and get the spawn code for a Carno. Alright, so I had a config error. As you can see, it reset the timer. I'll get one more Carno just to show it live. So as you can see, the mating is only 1 minute and 58 seconds. Alright, so we have mutations. Mutation is basically the chance. So this is vanilla, but you can up the chance mutation. Mutation number is the amount of stats that will be affected, or the amount that the stat will go up by. And the random mutation rolls is the amount of mutations you can get per dino at a single time. I hope that kind of made sense. But it is a bit confusing, the mutation part. Riding, so we can prevent riding of the dino fully if we don't want it being ridden at all. Or we can make a certain level to ride. So if I try to ride this Carno right here, as I'm only level 82, if I try to ride this Carno, it'll say I don't have the level, I need to be at least level 100. And if I change this down to 81, for instance, and then reload the config, I can then mount the Carno like normal. So auto doors is pretty self-explanatory of what it does. It will open and close doors for you. You have the enable, the default mode, 0, 1, or 2. The door range and foundations that it will open. the check interval, the permission to use. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the permission again just to show it and save the config. And then we have the commands to use what door we want to set it to, what mode. The last option we have in the config is for cryopod cooldown, which will change the default cooldown. So you can set this to whatever you want. It'll change the default cooldown. And then you can also set it for groups if you want different groups to have different cooldown. That pretty much wraps up Vanilla Modifiers by Pelayori. If you have any more questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Join my Discord, or join either their Discord for support or GSH. All those are great places to get support. My Discord is probably better to get support than the comment section, as it will be checked more frequently, and you can actually tag me if needed. Again, a big shout out to the devs that allow me to do this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.